everyone. I'm Bonnie Low-Kramen, and I want to welcome you to a special episode of the Be the Ultimate Assistant podcast with Bonnie and Vickie. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we recorded a series of webinars to address the burning issues impacting our global audience. So here we go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another session of speed mentoring with Bonnie and me. Hello, I'm Vickie Sokol Evans, broadcasting from Austin, Texas today.
And I am Bonnie Low-Kramen, and I'm coming to you from my home office in Ponte Vedra, Florida. We are so happy to have you here. What a day we have scheduled for you. For those who may not be so familiar with Vickie and me, for 25 years, I worked as the personal assistant to Oscar-winning actress Olympia Dukakis. And in that work, I became very aware of the lack of resources for assistants. And so that led me to writing the book, Be the Ultimate Assistant, and to creating a class called Be the Ultimate Assistant. My goal was to be as great an assistant as Olympia was an actress. And so this was my way of doing that. And that quickly led me to reach out to my friend and colleague, Vickie Sokol Evans, because I realized that there's no way to be an ultimate assistant without being fantastic at technology and productivity. So, Vickie, what's your background, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. Just for anyone that doesn't know me, I am a Microsoft certified trainer. I've been teaching Microsoft technologies since 1997, and both on PC and Mac. So I've been doing this a long time, but I'm also a former assistant. So I know exactly the dynamic of the workplace and the pressures and technological advances that are happening at the speed of light. So I'm here to help you in any way master the digital skills that are imperative for today's workplace. I train the world's smartest people how to use their technology, including the team that support Bill Gates, and as well as Microsoft employees and amazing teams across the world. And so that's why I'm here with you today, and that's why I work with Bonnie with the Be the Ultimate Assistant workshops and here for the speed mentoring. So we're so excited to have you here. I do have a couple of logistics slides. Yes. Is there anything else on before I do logistics?
No. Take it away, kid.
Yes, I'm so excited because we need to jump right in with Libby. So you will have an opportunity to submit questions to Libby. If you already have a question for Libby, what you're going to do, let me see if I can jump to the slide. Let me just give you real quick, if you know you want to ask her something, this is what we need, because we have over 3,000 people registered for today's session. We typically have over 500 people submitting questions in the Q&A. So if you have a question for Bonnie, just prefix that with BQ. B stands for Bonnie. VQ, which rhymes with B. VQ is Vickie. You have a question for me. And then LQ would be a question for Libby. And then my amazing assistant, Colleen, has the job of managing the questions behind the scenes. So that will help her out, flag the questions there for you. And the other thing, I want to talk about those of you that are unemployed. And a friend of mine is unemployed, and she told me this tip. If you are getting unemployment benefits, one of the requirements is to show effort in pursuing a job. And one of the things you could do is submit certificates of attendance for these webinars that you attend. So if you're attending the session, you're automatically going to get a certificate. So be sure to catalog that. And then if you attended any of our previous sessions, we can certainly give you that certificate. So whether you attend our sessions or any webinars since the pandemic happened, please make sure you're tracking those webinars and professional development opportunities, because it's going to help you. I am then going to now turn it over to Bonnie. She's got some news. Let me go over here.
Yeah. So everybody, boy, 2 weeks have flown, and we are still in the midst of this very serious crisis. Yeah. So we've got some good news and bad news, and I usually ask for the bad news first. This virus is still with us, and it's going to be with us for a while, it seems. What we know is that as of today, we have 33 million people in the United States who have applied for unemployment in the last 7 weeks. So part of our mission with these speed mentoring webinars is to offer solutions and lifelines and resources for that. As of yesterday, my assistant Jen and I launched the ability on my Be the Ultimate Assistant Facebook page for you to go there, Be the Ultimate Assistant Facebook page, and post whether you need a job or whether you have a job to post. And we are going to connect because the good news is that we have social media, we have this platform to not only share information, but to help one another. And that's a piece of really good news. Another piece of really good news is that this crisis is bringing out the best in assistants, because actually you're playing to your strengths. Assistants know how to do this. Assistants are great at pivoting and to responding to fast changes and to coming up with a plan A and a plan B and a plan C and so on. So this is really giving assistants around the world an opportunity to flex those leadership muscles and those resourcefulness abilities and your ability to be creative and take initiative. So there are some silver linings in this landscape. In subsequent webinars, which we're going to tell you about, we're going to be dealing with all kinds of things. Boy, oh boy, there's no lack of content. We have a lot to share. There's now all of this talk about what our offices are going to start looking like, and we need assistants to be a voice in that process as well. So there's one other thing before I turn it back to Vic. I found it ironic in this past week when I realized that for the last couple of years, for those of you on the call who've been to BTUA, you know I usually show a slide called "Assistants Often Know Better." That you see and hear everything, that people will say things to you as an assistant that they would never say to your executives, right? And so you have known for a couple of years what we've been talking about at BTUA was the concept of open floor plans, and how in general, assistants really have not liked the open floor plan at all. And so now look, we're no more open floor plans, that's now changing. The other thing we've been talking about for a couple of years is the idea, we often ask, when you've worked from home, because that's been a trend, right? With more assistants working at home, do you feel more productive, less productive, or equally productive as when you're in the office? And overwhelmingly, assistants have been saying for a couple of years now, definitely more productive, definitely. So now here we go with that. And so a couple of the questions on the chat were things like, how do I get my executive to say yes to working at home indefinitely, like from now on? And we'll be talking about that in the Q&A. But, boy, there's a lot of movement, a lot of flux. And that's why Vickie and I are committed to being here to deliver like the latest, greatest things, and certainly to introduce you to fabulous people who are also our friends. Thanks, Vic.
You bet. Okay, we asked you a couple of questions during the registration process. So we have some updated numbers for you. Let me share that for you guys. So this is Bonnie. Do you want to cover this?
Yeah, the numbers are up from the last time we did this question. I often ask on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your stress level? What we're seeing in the chat and in our conversations with assistants and with leaders all over the world, and with HR and with the recruiters I'm speaking with, the stress level is high. And for good reason, right? There's still a lot of uncertainty out in the world. There's a lot of insecurity. There's this very high unemployment. And of course, there's a virus that's hurting people. So, I want to just reiterate the point that in all of this stress and all of this turmoil, people handle it in very different ways. we cannot assume that just because you're feeling a certain way, that everybody else is feeling exactly the same way. We all have a different tolerance for stress levels. And, how wonderful that, that's a big part of what Libby's going to be talking about today. So we want to do everything we can to lower the stress. And what we know is that one way to do that is with solid information, with clarity, and with some ideas about how you can move forward in a positive, realistic way, whatever the issue is. So that's, so it's still pretty high. We have a reason to be here. And then what we've seen, we now have additional people on the call, which is so wonderful. We're up to 1,400 people with us right this minute. Mostly assistants are on the call, but we have had an increase of assistant managers, and that's terrific. And what we'd love is more leaders, more HR professionals, more recruiters, because we must share information with each other. That one of the new phrases that I'm hearing in this week is bottom-up education, meaning that leaders in HR are asking the staff for input about what reentry should look like. And if you've got something to say, now's the time to share it. Thanks, Vic.
Speaking of now's the time.
Yeah. Now, it's now the time.
Yes.
All right.
Excited. Now's the time, everyone. Let us tell you a little bit about our special guest, Libby Moore, who is coming to us from her home in Vancouver, Canada. Libby is a certified life coach, executive coach, speaker, and founder of LoveX Global. She loves inspiring people and companies to align with their higher self in order to achieve their higher purpose. I love that. Former chief of staff to Oprah Winfrey, Libby spent over a decade assisting Miss Winfrey help people unlock their personal power. And Bonnie, you're going to take away the next piece of it?
Yeah. So prior to her work with Oprah, Libby worked as the personal assistant to talk show host Maury Povich, who's on the left. And then she supported Jan Wenner, who was the founder and publisher of Rolling Stone magazine. And it was in that capacity that I got to meet Libby. We figured out today it was 22 years ago. I co-founded an organization called New York Celebrity Assistants, and we realized Libby joined in the very first year in 1996. So it feels like yesterday in some ways, but we've shared a lot over the years. Now Libby travels the world, and sometimes she does it with us. She has been sharing her work life experiences and lessons learned as she helps corporations reimagine what corporate culture can be from a higher consciousness. We've traveled the world with her. We've been at conferences together, and we have watched her mesmerize audiences as she shares her very unique point of view and what she knows from deep inside. We've been so fortunate that not once but twice she has come to our class at Be the Ultimate Assistant, and our students are still talking about it. She has been a really great friend. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's please say hello to Libby Moore.
Hi.
There she is.
Hi,
Libby.
I have this big smile on my face because I actually was able to turn my camera on and my audio, right? Before this, we're like testing it, and I thought, oh my God, please let this go on. Hi.
I have a feeling this is going to be a fact of your life for a while.
Yes,
Libby, how
good.
are you? What are you making of what's life throwing at you these days?
Yes, well, I'm also in the COVID space that we're all in. Everybody is in around the world. Everybody on this webinar right now is in that quarantine COVID space, and it's not fun. It's a big it's not fun. And it's heartbreaking in a lot of ways, the people that are sick, the people that have passed on, and the people that have lost their jobs, and all the businesses that are closing. All of that is not good, obviously. And in addition, not but, and there's also this burst of creativity that's happening, new ways of being in relationship with your partner, your kids, your family, your coworkers, your friendships, reaching out to people, old friends to remember. There's a lot of good going on too. I just want to point out both. Yes, the bad news, and yes, the good news. They're both equally there, and it's up to us really to choose which path to get on for the predominant part of our day and our lives. That's where I am.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard to believe what just has happened. It feels still like 5 minutes ago that, all of this went down so suddenly. So Libby, we have some favorite stories of yours. I know so many people are curious about your work. Can you tell us, how did the job happen? How did that go down?
Okay, so as you mentioned earlier, we met through NICA. As everyone knows by now, Bonnie started NICA and New York Celebrity Assistants, and that was 1996. I was working at Rolling Stone. I was in that networking group. And the long story short, because probably a lot of people on this call or people that have heard my story have heard this, which is I was working as a second assistant to Jan Wenner at Rolling Stone. I wanted to get into comedy, so I'd been writing submissions to Saturday Night Live, Rosie O'Donnell. That had not been happening. And so one day, this is an important part of the story, which is one day I was riding the subway to work and said, okay, God, universe, whatever you call it, people listening, whether you believe in God or the universe or your higher self, just put in there whatever you believe in. I said, okay, clearly you do not want me to have this job with Rosie or Saturday Night Live. So whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing in the world, right? Every atom, cell, and molecule in my body, mind, soul, and spirit's open to it. Show me what it is, be clear, shine a big fat spotlight on it so I'm clear that's what I'm supposed to do, and I'll do it. And then I just released that prayer, that intention to the universe. And I think it was 5 weeks later that this email came through Trish Peters, as we know, who is a member of New York Celebrity Assistants. And it went to about 100 people. I think at the time there were 100 people in that group.
Yeah.
And it went to everyone, and it said, I've been contacted by a recruiter in Chicago. They're in search of a chief of staff, executive assistant to a high profile person. Responsibilities include, and it had a long list. And the first two things said, coordinate private plane pilots and aviation team. And I thought, wow, that person is wealthy. And then the second thing was coordinate hair and makeup team. And I thought, oh, that's hair and makeup. That means they're on TV. Oh my God, this is Oprah Winfrey, because Jenny Jones and Jerry Springer cannot afford a private plane. I knew that like immediately. And I swear to you both, as I asked in the intention, the prayer, make it clear, in that moment, what came in is, that's why I didn't get the job with Saturday Night Live or Rosie O'Donnell, because I'm supposed to do this. I'm going to get this job. That was the thought when I saw that email. So the quick version is I sent my resume to the recruiter. She called me, about 10 minutes after that. We had a chat. We had another call the next day. Should I stop there or keep going?
Just time out for a little bit, but that was so cool though. But doesn't that story is about networking? Like that's yes. What every person on the call can relate to, is the idea that jobs come through recruiters, but actually it was the connection through your organization, right? That
I want to clarify. Yes, there are two things. So here, like in the tangible real world, it was networking. It was that group of people. It was you, Trish, like all those people. That's how it came to me. And it's also equally important to mention that it was me releasing what I thought was best for me, Saturday Night Live and Rosie, to open up to a higher intelligence, an energy field of possibility. That's a great way of putting it. So like 6 months before that, my mom said, why don't you send your resume to Oprah? And I was like, Mom, whoever's Oprah's assistant, why would they ever leave? And, you know, I don't want to, so I shut it down. It came to me because the person had left a month before my mom said that, but I blew it off. I shut it down. But when I opened myself up to possibility, that's when I saw that email and I thought, oh my God, maybe this is Oprah. Yeah. So that's important to make that clarification.
Really important.
Did your mom know that she had left a month? No, she didn't know. It just coincidentally you found out later that the date that your mom had said this, that the other person had left.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was only focused on the Rosie O'Donnell show at that point. So I wasn't listening to anything else, meaning I was closed, I wasn't open. The moment I opened up, it came through NICA, the power of networking and networking groups. So it's spiritual, energetic networking, and it's real life people networking.
Yeah, big time. And that's such an important lesson. So Vickie, I know, you know, I've shared a little bit about my connection to Libby. What's yours?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me try not to get emotional, but Libby and I met when you were first our guest speaker at BTUA in, it was in California, Shutters.
Oh yes.
Shutters on the Beach.
That's right. Yes.
Shutters on the Beach.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we became friends after that. And I remember, that when I first got diagnosed with cancer in April of 2017, I had a conversation with you, and two of the things that let me share a picture of us together during my cancer stuff. But
I'll step out for a minute.
Okay. Two things you told me. Let's see if I can share my screen.
Aww.
I love that picture. Okay.
That's more accurate.
Two things you told me. Yeah. Two things you told me when I first told you I had cancer. Number one, you said I wasn't like, you didn't feel like I was dying from it. You said, you're not going to die from this. I have a strong feeling you're not going to die for this. And number two, this is simply a bridge to where you're supposed to go. Like wherever you need to be in 3 years, you have to go through this in order to get on the other side of that. That was one thing. And then the second thing you said to me was that people will say that chemo is poison, when in fact chemo is light, pushing the poison out, pushing the darkness out. Mm-hmm. So every week when I had chemo, I got to sit in that chair for 5 to 6 hours, and with the injection, I always remembered I'm going there for light, and that helped me get through it. And I wanted to share that because I feel like you have some lessons for all of us during this time, that we have to eliminate the negative words. Because I've even had friends say, oh, you're going to chemo today, go get that poison. I'm like, and that's what I kept getting fed to me all the time when people knew I was going to get chemo. So, you know, I thank you profusely for doing that and being my mentor and helping inspire me to get through cancer. I think those two things did make me get through it easily. So what's your advice for people going through something like this, that they could just change their perception or the way they're communicating or the words they're using? Do you have anything for folks? And this is us recently. Let's see.
Yeah, I would say
there we go.
it's rebranding everything. Oh, can you hear me? Yeah. I'm on, I think. Yeah. It's rebranding your thoughts. Right, what we're in right now, quarantine, is a time to rebrand everything. Rebrand your perspective, rebrand what people have taught you. I mean, basically a brand, back in the day, we called it a reputation. Do you know, it's the same thing. So what the words that we're using, like people saying, no one's hiring. Who would hire during this time? Well, I just got a new amazing client, and my partner just got a client. She went off to the Middle East on Sunday for 6 weeks to work on something. So do you know what I mean? People are, if you're saying, oh, no one's hiring, that's what you're sending out. And if you're saying there are people hiring, there are people saying, you know what? I don't want to do my job anymore. I'm done. I realize I'm done. And they leave, and that person needs to find an assistant ASAP. And here's 1,500 to 3,000 people. One of them's at least one of them is looking for a new job. So it's rebrand your thinking. What is the positive? At the fork in the road, you can choose the negative or the positive, fear or hope, possibility, love.
So what do you say? So if I, instead of saying no one is hiring right now, there's no way I'm going to get a job. How am I gonna work? Like, what would you say? What are the words that people should be saying instead?
The words that they could say in that is thank you. Thank you for that new job coming to me. I am so excited to meet that new person and the new company, my new coworkers, the new organization. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's how you do it. Even if your practical mind will start going, what are you talking about? You haven't heard from anyone. You haven't sent out a resume. It doesn't always come that way. But what you have to have faith. And I'm not talking about religious faith. It can be religious faith for some people, but faith is believing when there's no proof. I promise you, I've spent the past 8.5 years testing all of this after I left the job with Oprah. Is it real? Using my life as a petri dish? Is it true our thoughts create our life? And the answer is yes. And when you start saying thank you instead of please or beg or that's never going to happen, things totally shift because our thoughts create our life.
Do you want to talk about Bonnie, are you thinking about the New York, when she came to visit us in New York? Or speak at our session?
What were you thinking of, Vic? I don't know exactly which point.
When you chased her down with the gift cards, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, right. Yeah, so Libby, you want to tell that
do
one
you want me
about when you came?
Tell that story?
Well,
or do we have? We want to talk about interviews.
Wait, no, we have so many things. Okay. Here, let's do this. Libby, most people want to know how that interview was with Oprah, and then that can lead us into the story about the gift card if you want. But I mean, it began and then it ended, and people on this call know what that is. You know, every job ends sometimes. Even yours with Oprah, even mine with Olympia. Yes. So I'm gonna. If you can tell us that story, how did that happen? Your interview. So the recruiter said yes.
Okay. So
and Bonnie and I will we'll turn off our.
We're going to step out.
Okay, and then you guys need to pop back on when you want me to wrap it up. So
okay,
this is real natural. I'm real natural, y'all. I'm not all fancy. So okay, so basically, I had the conversation with the recruiter. It went really well. She said, "Can you sound like a good candidate? Can you talk to?" I had a conference call with the president of Harpo, Tim Bennett, and the director of HR, Bernice Smith. And that was a week later. And then they said, Oprah's going to be in New York next week. Can you meet her at this place for an interview? Yes. Week later, I get to this. It was held at a really nice hotel in New York. I got there early. I'm going to give you the short version. But these are important nuggets to share. I got to the hotel early, of course. I find a little quiet place in the corner of the lobby, and I just sat there and did my deep breathing, which I'm really into. You'll hear about that in a few minutes. Deep breath, slow exhale to calm my nerves and get in alignment with my higher self, God, source, universe, whatever you call it. And I said, thank you. I was in a space of gratitude. I said, thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing me this opportunity to me. I'm about to meet Oprah Winfrey. This is amazing. I love Oprah. I love her show. I love the magazine. This is incredible. Thank you. And if I am meant to have that job, make it clear to her and to me. And if I'm not meant to have it, well, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to get to meet Oprah. So started with gratitude, make it clear, is this really for me? And ending with gratitude. And I also did the deep breath, slow exhale, and said, it just came to me organically, this thought, thank you for flowing through me and helping me to be calm, cool, confident, and 100% myself. Amen. And then I walked into the restaurant where the meeting was being held, seated at the table. Then Tim Bennett came in, he said, Oprah's on the line with President Clinton. She'll be down in a few minutes. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, me, Elizabeth Moore from Berlin, Maryland. Like, I didn't do well in school. All these things went through my head, and this is amazing that I get to meet with Oprah. And then she walked in, sat down. We all three talked for about 35, 40 minutes. And then she said, "What's your plan?" And I said, "What do you mean my plan?" And she said, "Your plan, your life plan, your plan for your life." And in that moment, I thought, oh my God, I don't have a life plan. I'm just kind of going with the flow here. And in that moment, I thought, should I say what I think I'm supposed to say in an interview with Oprah Winfrey, or do I tell her the truth? And in that nanosecond, I went with the truth. And I said, well, honestly, 5 weeks ago, I had been sending writing submissions to the Rosie O'Donnell show for 10 months. No one was replying. So I said this prayer on the subway. Okay, God, clearly you don't want me to write for Oprah. Whatever you want me to do, every atom, cell, and molecule in my body, mind, soul, and spirit's open to it. Show me what it is. Be clear. Shine a big fat spotlight on it. I'll do it. And here I am sitting with you having a glass of Chardonnay at this beautiful hotel. So if you leave this interview and you feel like I'm the one for the job, it would be an honor to take it, because I respect what you do. It matches my passion, which is what you're doing on your TV show, in your foundation for women and girls around the world. And it matches it with my experience, which is being an executive assistant for 7 years. But if you leave this interview and you feel like she's nice, but not the right one for the job, that's okay too, because that just means there's a better chief of staff coming for you. And if this isn't what God has planned for me, I cannot wait to see what's next. And she just kind of looked me in the eyes for a few seconds and then said, okay, Tim, let's bring her to Chicago. And then that was the cue to like, okay, let's bring her out. And then I had to meet all these other people and go through a full day of interviews with different people. And I ended up getting the job. And I moved from New York to Chicago. I took it and I thought, I'll stay for a couple years and see if it works out for both of us. And I stayed for 11 years. And it was the most extraordinary opportunity of my life. 11 years, to this day, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I absolutely love her. I love that job. And that's how I got the job.
Right. So Libby, but it did end. It did end. And ironically, I left Olympia in August and you left Oprah in September. Like we left within about a month of each other. And I remember that so distinctly because, as fabulous as those jobs were, and I'm sure a lot of people on the call can relate to this, jobs end. And hopefully it's your choice, which it was in both of our cases. But I think the reality was, like, for a few months, we did monthly check-ins with each other because this experience of leaving something so profoundly powerful and life-changing was wrenching. Do you want to talk a little bit about that process of leaving and like what that feels like?
Yes. So 2 years before the Oprah Winfrey show ended its run, which was a 25-year run, I know there's lots of people from all over the world calling in, and I know the show was in 144 countries around the world. So it was the #1 talk show in the US for 25 years. And she announced 2 years before the show ended that she was going to wrap it up in May of 2011. So once she had made that announcement, a couple months in, I had said to her, we were in a private moment that we had, I said, I just want you to know where my head is. Once you get settled into the new network she launched, the Oprah Winfrey Network, television network, you get settled in California. She was making that her primary residence from Chicago. And once you feel settled, because this is going to be a massive life shift for you, once you feel good, it's time for me to move on from this role. I want to stay in your Oprah universe in some capacity. I love you. I love your company. I love your mission. I love everything you do. I just can't do this job anymore. I'm burnt out. I never see my friends or family. I'm on my 3rd relationship since I've been in this job. I'm burnt out. And she said, Libby, I get it. This type of job at this level, the burnout rate is 4 years, and you will have done it for 11 years. So we've got 2 years. Let's figure out what that next role was. And I just felt so relieved, like, oh, thank God, she wants me to stay with her, And then as those 2 years rolled by, I suggested some stuff that didn't really resonate with her. She suggested stuff that didn't really resonate with me. And we got to a point where I was like, wow, I guess then I'm just going to go. I had helped the team that was creating Super Soul Sunday, which is a show on her new network. And so I helped with the team and helped launch that, but we really couldn't agree on ultimately what my new space would be. I didn't want to be a LA TV network person. That just isn't me. It doesn't vibe with me. And so I left January 1st, 2012, left the company at that point. And Bonnie and I, it was kind of interesting because Bonnie was with her person, Olympia Dukakis, for 25 years. Bonnie, is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
I was with Oprah for 11. So it was me leaving O, her leaving O. She had her O, I had my O. And we were just like, this is bizarre. And it kind of felt like a breakup, which sounds odd. Like, you know, a healthy breakup, because you both love each other. There's so much history there, and you care about each other so much. Yet the universe, your inner self, whatever you want to call it, is pulling you in a different direction. Like now Bonnie gets to do this around the world and Vickie and take all that experience they've learned and share it around the globe. Right. And for me, it's taking everything I've learned before Oprah, during Oprah, after Oprah, and sharing that in the way that I share it. So it was very hard. It was one of the most difficult decisions of my life. And I love my life. And I love what that was. And I love what this is.
It's about trusting when something is meant to be at an end.
Yes.
And however, I think it's important to say that in those few months immediately after leaving, I mean, for me, the word that is still real is wrenching. Like, and we would talk about like what it physically felt like, you know, like that last time driving out of New York City. Like it's to leave a position that is so important for so many years. That's no small thing. And these relationships, and it's worth talking about on a webinar like this, because the people listening, the assistants of the world, are in these very powerful partnerships, and it's serious. It raises a lot of serious feelings. But yes, we ended and we went on to other things. But then fast forward to, you know, you came to BTUA in July of 2016, and you were fabulous, and then you needed to leave, and it was July. We both remembered that. And are you cool with telling that story about Robert running down the street after you?
Yes. Hi, Robert. I know he's on the call too. I totally missed that earlier. Robert, you're in the vibe, obviously, always. So I had left January 1st, 2012. I took a year off. I called it the Libby Moore Gypsy Tour, 365 days of following my heart. And I was good financially, everything at that point. I was like 401k savings, no debt, you know, like I was really in a great place. And this is important to say that at the end of that year, when everyone's like, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? I said, I'm going to do what I've been doing the past year, connecting with people heart to heart, energy to energy. And everyone kind of rolled their eyes. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that's what I'm going to do. And everyone rolled their eyes. How are you going to make money doing that? And I said, I don't know, but I love this so much. I know the money will come. And at that moment, I decided to take my savings and reinvest it back into myself, treat myself like a startup, and give myself 4 or 5 years to see if I could really do this. And that became getting my coaching certification, started life coaching and executive coaching and all that. Well, so at this point where Bonnie has just brought us up to, July 2016, I had reinvested all of my money in myself, my 401k, my savings. You know, I wasn't really working that hard to get clients. So I had like a couple clients, and I mean, it was like, whoa, I think my Amex card had come in. I woke up and something said, check your email. And at 5 a.m. I checked my email and it said, your bank account is below $25. And I had like negative $4,700 because my Amex bill had just come in, and I had no money, essentially, no savings, no 401k. And it was around that time, I mean, I really was like, whoa, this is bottom of the barrel. This is what I've been fearing. So people are always like, I'm afraid I'm going to end up homeless or on the street. I thought, oh my God, like I can't even pay my rent. And Bonnie and Vickie asked me to speak at BTUA in New York. And I went there and I loved it and the vibe was great. And then I left, and then Robert Bonnie's partner comes running down the road. Oh, I'm sorry, you know, we wanted to give you this. It's from Bonnie, and it's a thank you, a little thank you, and it was this beautiful thank you note and this gift card. And I opened that gift card and was like, oh my God, like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Everything, everything that came to me, even the note would have been enough to say thank you. You know, the gift card was like, wow, thank you. And I just started hyper focusing on everything that I got and was so grateful for it. And that was the beginning of this build of things coming to me.
Yeah.
And also I want to say Alex Carvalho, who was in I met him for the first time at that event. And I had been praying and saying to the universe, thank you for sending me a part-time assistant. I need someone to help me. Like, I'm not good at this stuff. Yeah, I could barely turn on the camera and microphone today, you know, for this thing. So Alex and I met.
But now you got it.
Yeah. And he reached out, and then he ended up setting up me on like FreshBooks. And so even that came out. That was another gift that came out of it. So I could go on and on.
So let me ask you, Libby, you know, like that anxiety about money, clearly a lot of people are feeling that right this minute, you know, like that, you know, people are going through their savings in a big way. Like, were you losing sleep and getting headaches, and like, was it manifesting physically?
It wasn't because I was stressed and I would worry, but it wasn't like that kind of like where I would allow it to penetrate me in that way. So your thoughts create your life. And I had studied enough, the 11 years with Oprah and all the people that I saw her interview and the books that I read. And then at that point, it was 12, 13, 14, 15, 5 years of self-immersion, self-study into, well, how do our thoughts create our life, and what is energy? And so I had done so much work in that space that I knew I have to apply these exercises or I am going to get sick. And I'm not going to draw anything to me. So that's important.
Yeah, because what's interesting, we didn't know, like when you came to BTUA, Be the Ultimate Assistant, we didn't know that anything was wrong. And then I realized after you left the building, and it was just like 5 minutes later, like, oh my gosh, I forgot to give Libby her present. Yeah. And so that's when I said, Robert, please go, she can't be that far. I go, it's probably even less than 5 minutes. And so, you know, it just feels like there are those moments, and you know, you're saying that triggered other things. And so I know you have so much to share. I think we're going to turn it over to you now, Libby.
Okay.
Vickie, you have a couple of ways that we want the audience to just know how to ask Libby questions. Yeah?
Yeah, so we have we've got a 15-minute closing, but we have 30 minutes left to talk about your strategy, Libby. Don't you have a 5-point strategy you want to share with us? And then, and then we've got questions. So you tell me, Bonnie or Libby, what do you feel like the flow is right now, Lib?
Well, what I'd like to do, so how much time total do we have for this whole thing left?
We have 30 minutes total with you before we need to do the final 15 minutes with Bonnie and me. And you. Well, we have 30 minutes. Yes, it includes your 5-point plan and Q&A. Yes.
Okay.
So we're good.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna go through these, and then I really feel like it's more. I think my vibe is that people asking questions and me answering them would be more beneficial. So I just want to get, and anybody on the call can ask me whatever you want. So I want to go through these.
Okay, hold on a second, Libby. We are going to turn off our cameras so we can focus on you and our view.
Right, and so when you're ready for questions, Lib, just say, we're ready for some questions. Cool?
Questions. Yes, got it. What do you say? Okay, so 15, okay, so around, I'm just looking at the time there. So what I'm going to share with you today are the basic exercises, practices, or exercises, whatever you prefer to call them, that if you implement these 5 things plus the bonus 6 total into your life on a daily basis, I promise you, your life is going to shift for the better. If you actually do it, why don't you just say, try this for 30 days. If you can do this, and if at the end of 30 days nothing happens, then fine, stop doing it. But you are going to notice shifts if you do this. I'm not teaching anybody anything new here. You already know this. Every single person on earth knows this information. But what happens is it gets lost in the chaos and swirl of life. Partners, kids, family, pets, bills, losing jobs, getting jobs, social media, Facebook, the news, fear. It gets lost. Our inner wisdom, our higher intelligence, and again, if I use the term God or universe, think energy, nature, whatever feels right for you. If you say, I don't believe in any of that, I think it's my decisions. I make good decisions, bad decisions, and my decisions create my life. Fantastic. Go with your higher intelligence and lower intelligence. This one makes good decisions. This makes bad decisions. So super Fisher-Price. I like to call it Fisher-Price, which for those of you around the world that haven't heard of Fisher-Price, it's a toys that 3-year-olds and older can use. So this is super basic. I like to call it B to B, not business to business, back to basics. And these are the basic things that you need to know that will help you shift where you are in your life right now, personal life, professional life. So number 1 is the 3x3 breathing. And it is simply deep breath in, hold it for a few seconds, slow exhale out. So on the call right now, everybody together, I want us to do the 3 deep breaths and slow exhales. This is the core and the basis of this work. So you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose until you can't take it in anymore. And then in your mind, count 1001, 1002, and then you're going to do a really slow exhale through your nose. And you're going to release your shoulders on the way down. So again, deep breath in, hold it for a few seconds, and then through your nose or mouth, whatever feels better to you, release the shoulders on the way down. And then a third one, deep breath in, hold it at the top for a few seconds, and then a slow exhale out. 2 things are happening when you do that. Physiologically, this is what's happening. When you're feeling stress or anxiety, your brain is producing the chemical cortisol, the hormone chemical cortisol. And that's coursing throughout your bloodstream in your body, and it's building the anxiety. Like a snowball that's rolling downhill, it's going faster and getting bigger because it's unmanaged. So when you don't pay attention to the anxiety and you're just thinking, oh my God, I'm stressed, I'm so freaked out, I'm stressed, I'm worried, I'm stressed, I'm anxious. When your brain continues to think that, the thought, that cortisol is just continuing to go throughout your brain, your mind, and it's coming throughout your body. And so when you take a deep breath and a slow exhale, your body is saying to your brain, we're safe, we're okay. So it turns off the release of cortisol, like boom, it's off. It turns it off. So you will immediately feel better physically and mentally. So by the time you've done your 3rd exhale, you will feel relaxed, grounded, and clearer. That's what's happening physiologically. What's happening energetically, spiritually, whatever you want to call it. I believe, this is just my hypothesis, and it's not an original thought at all. I believe that when we're in our head and we're spinning and anxious, think of it, the metaphor of like looking through trillions of files for the right information. When you take a deep breath, slow exhale, boom, you're back in alignment with your higher consciousness, higher power, God, source, universe, energy, atoms, cells, and molecules that are vibrating at a higher vibration than the lower vibration. That's what the deep breath, slow exhale does. Boom, you're locked in right there. Deep breath, slow exhale. So physiologically, it's turning off the chemical cortisol in your brain. And energetically, it's pulling you into alignment with your higher consciousness, a higher intelligence. And from that clean, clear space, that's where answers drop in, inspiration, creativity, solutions. It will guide you it will tell you, it's like a thought that pops up into your head as to what to do next. So the 3 deep breaths, slow exhales, even if we ended this webinar right now, if you just did that throughout the day and the rest of your life, you're going to notice a shift. Okay, that's the 3x3 breathing. Number 2 is, I want to share this story to really impact that first one. So when I was working in the job with Oprah, I think it was about 10 months in, a year in maybe, and still it was like a lot to get my head around of just the enormousness of this job. I managed 5 assistants, and together as a team, we all did this together as a team. I couldn't have survived in that job for 6 months without this amazing team. Angelique, Nirvana, Pierre, Kelly, Chris, Joan, I mean, Anita, I'm just thinking of all the people, Nina, all the assistants that worked on Oprah's team. I could not have done it without those people. So when I was, I mean, there they are, yay. So that's Pierre, Nirvana, Joan, me, and Angelique. That team I am so grateful for. They are superpowers and just all amazing people who together as a team, we helped manage and organize Ms. Winfrey's personal and professional life. Amazing. Have so much love for these people. And then that's a picture of Oprah and I at her 50th birthday luncheon. So at this point, I was online, I was working until 10 o'clock at night. I was exhausted, I was stressed out, and I had about 250 unread emails. And I just thought, I can't do this. My thought was, I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't do it. This is too much. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I started crying. I was completely stressed out and overwhelmed. And this thought came to me. It was like it really was like a voice. It was like a voice, and the voice said, you're not supposed to do it. You're supposed to let me do it. And it came twice. You're not supposed to do it. You're supposed to let me do it. And I just went, oh my God. And in that moment, I had an epiphany. And the understanding was, I'm supposed to open myself up and allow this higher consciousness to work through me. Even if you call it your higher intelligence, it doesn't matter what you call it. So let's not get hung up on that. You open yourself up and allow this higher consciousness to work through you. See with your eyes, listen with your ears, speak with your voice, experience with your heart, feel with your touch, walk in your shoes, guide you, direct you, boom, and you're in it. You're in alignment. That's what in flow is. So from that moment on, every day that I took the cab to work, the taxi cab, I would say, thank you for using me as your divine instrument, flow through me, see with my eyes, listen with my ears, speak with my voice, think with my thoughts, experience with my heart, feel with my touch, show me where to go. You know, how can I work through me? So the deep breath, slow exhale, that's what's happening. That's the other thing that's happening from an energetic standpoint. Deep breath, slow exhale, you're out of your mind and you're into flow with this superpower, your higher self, higher intelligence. That's the most important one right there. That's why I want to spend so much time on that. Number 2 is thoughts. Your thoughts create your life. And Bonnie and I just talked about this before I started this. Your thoughts create your life. It is true. It is true. So at that point, the story I was just telling, where I really had no money, was in a tremendous amount of credit card debt, a couple clients, something in me just said, the longer you lay in bed and think about this, the more depressed you're going to get, the worse it's going to get. You know what to do. And I listened to that voice. We all have that voice. So it said, get up out of bed. Like, I just got up. I was saying, go into the bathroom, brush your teeth, wash your face, look in your eyes and say, I love you. You've got this. You're powerful. You know how to do this. And I just started telling myself, psyching myself up, like, universe, let's turn this cruise ship around in a canal and show people how quickly we can do it. And and then the next thing was, now you're going to sit down and meditate. Now you're going to journal. Now, your prayer, intentional thought, journal. It was like baby steps. And I just kept listening to each baby step that came. I didn't get too far ahead. Like, what am I going to do with no money? I just took baby steps. Deep breath, slow exhale. What do I do next? What do I do next? And the short version of this story is that 5 days later, a client that I was working with, a startup, they founded a startup in Silicon Valley. And they said, you have been helping me so much. I want you to work with my whole company. There's 50 people, 50, in my company. I don't know how you're going to do it, but let's figure out how to work with them. And within 5 days, my business, my life, my financial life turned around. I wasn't out of debt, but it was enough money that was the lifeline to pull me back in. So again, our thoughts create our life. So the exercise is that when you are focusing too much on, oh my God, I'm worried. What if I get fired? What if I don't get another job? Whatever that is, your job, the practice, the exercise is to catch yourself in that thought, do the 3 deep breaths, slow exhales, and then you plant a new seed of thought in that clean, clear space in your mind. You tell yourself what you know to be true, factual, and positive about your current state. I have a home, I have a bed, I have food in the cupboards, I have a car, I have gas in the car, or I have friends, I have family. It's about gratitude and focusing on what you do have and or what you want to do in the future. Creative visualize it, imagine it. Disney, the Disney company, their creative people are called Imagineers because they're engineers who are imagining. They start with the imagination and then they create it. Imagineers, that's what you're doing for your life. So imagine yourself walking through the door of Google or wherever it is that you want to work. You imagine it. You want a partner? Imagine yourself meeting your new partner, having dinner together, talking. Maybe you meet online during quarantine. There's so much possibility here. So that's the thoughts. Your thoughts create your life. So the catch and release, if you catch yourself in the negative thought, you do the 3 deep breaths, slow exhales, and then you plant a new positive seed of what you are in currently or where you want to see yourself in the future. Number 3, move your body. This goes without saying. You are stagnant, maybe you sit at a desk all day. You must get up. If you don't feel comfortable going out and walking, which I highly recommend, to get out into nature. My motto is nature is the new corner office. Nature is the new corner office. If you have a phone or a laptop, you can be anywhere in the world and do your work. So get out, do a 20-minute walk, a 45-minute walk, an hour if you can, go at sunrise or sunset, immerse yourself in nature. If you don't feel comfortable going outside, there's tons of free yoga, Tai Chi, karate, everything online right now. More free opportunities than ever online. Must move your body every day. 4 is gratitude. You've all heard the attitude of gratitude. So again, if you are focusing, what you focus on expands. That's the bottom line. Everything I'm sharing here is not new information. What you focus on expands. So in a really quick Fisher-Price version of what this is how I like to explain it. When you think a thought, when I think the thought, for example, when I moved back to New York City and I wanted an apartment, and I told everyone, oh, I'm going to move back to New York. I'm looking for an apartment. And they'd say, where do you want to live? I said, the West Village. And they said, how much do you want to spend? And this was in 2015. And I said, $1,500 US dollars for all of you global people, 1,500. And everyone laughed in my face. And they said, Libby, the West Village is one of the nicest places in New York City. You can't even get a horrible studio apartment in the worst part of New York for $1,500. And I would say, well, I believe in magic and miracles. And I believe that someone would welcome my $1,500 towards their mortgage, their rent. And long story short, my process, even though it was kind of embarrassing sharing but I wanted to prove to people that I could find a great studio apartment in the West Village or apartment for $1,500. So I focused on what I did have. At the time, I was living on my friend's couch. I had moved back to New York to help a friend get through cancer treatments. I lived with them for 6 months. I was on the couch. So every morning I would wake up and say, thank you for this couch. Thank you for these sheets. Thank you for this pillow. Thank you for my coffee. Thank you for this time to meditate. Thank you for, you know, Lisa and Leslie's good health. Thank you for these dogs that are bringing so much joy. I would focus on what I did have. And I think it was 5 weeks later that this apartment came in. This person said, hey, there's this apartment on Bethune Street in the West Village. I went to look at it, hardwood floors, white marble fireplace, big windows, lots of light, studio apartment. I said to the woman, wow, this is beautiful. How much do you want for it? Because I thought it was going to be $2,500. And she goes, well, the person that lived here prior lived here for 8 years. And I don't know, we're just hoping to get $1,500. And I said, I'll take it. So for $1,500, I had this beautiful studio apartment in the West Village for 3.5 years until they sold the brownstone. They never raised the rent. They were amazing people. So again, focus on what you do have, and what you want will come in. The attitude of gratitude. Number 5 is be of service. So a lot of people, I'm sorry that I'm speed talking through all this. We can recap this, but I just want to make sure I stay to time here. Be of service. A lot of people at home right now get into a place of feeling sorry for themselves, or, you know, why isn't anybody calling me? I've felt that before. I felt that a couple times during this, like, God, why isn't so-and-so reaching out? But have I reached out to them? No. So the best thing you can do right now when you're feeling sad, lonely, like no one, you know, that kind of feeling, is to be of service to someone else. So take a deep breath, slow exhale, do 3, and you ask yourself, who do I know that would love to hear from me right now? And boom, that person will pop up in your head. And that's who you reach out to. You send them a text and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. How are you and your family? You call them. Do you want to set up a Zoom? That energy ripples out. You're going to make them feel so good. You're going to feel so good for doing it. Another thing is, I started talking about this in these, I've been doing coaching teams at companies and individual coaching, but in the team coaching calls, I've been saying to people, this popped into my head, everybody had somebody in their life that they had a falling out with. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's an old friend, maybe it's a coworker. Now would be a great time to extend the olive branch and reach out to them and say, I'm just thinking of you. That's all it has to be. I did that. So after this one coaching call, I thought, you know what? I'm going to reach out to my friend. My friend and I had a falling out 2 years ago or so. Dear friend of mine, it was a business thing, falling out, haven't spoken to each other since. Birthdays have come and gone, holidays. And I reached out and said, hey, I just want to let you know I'm thinking of you and your wife, and I hope you all are well, and sending love. And then she wrote back, and then we had a really nice exchange. I felt so much better because of that. That was the mending. There was another person I reached out to. We had a mending. I felt so great. Those people feel so much better. So I highly recommend, when you are feeling down, who can you be of service to? And then a story that I want to share about that is that when I went back to New York to help my friend get through cancer treatments, she's super healthy now, by the way, totally fantastic. I was helping them. They had 3 dogs. And so I would get up and walk the dogs in the morning. It was New York City, February, huge snowstorm. I'm walking the 3 dogs, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm a dog walker. Like I'm now a dog walker. I used to be Oprah's chief of staff, and now I'm a dog walker. That was the thought that went through my head. Feeling just like, where am I going in my life? What am I doing? And this voice came in, and it said, you go and be of service where you're needed, and I will take care of you beyond measure. It came twice. You go and be of service where you're needed, and I will take care of you beyond measure. And I was like, wow, that's okay. So again, whether that was my higher consciousness or God or the universe, it was a clear message to me. And I can say to all of you out there, if you can be of service to anybody, it might seem like such a little thing. The power in that is immense. What will come back to you? You're not doing it to get something back. You're doing it because someone's in need and you're going to be of service to them. And everybody wins. It's a win-win situation. So when you're feeling down, you're feeling lonely, who can you be in service to? And then the final one and the bonus, which is one of the most powerful. I like to say bonus because I like it to stand out, is you get up every morning. Everybody on earth has to go to the bathroom when you get up. The first thing. So you go to the bathroom, maybe you brush your teeth next, and then you look into the mirror, into your own eyes, and you say, I love you, and add your name to it. I say it every morning. I love you, Libby. You are beautiful. You're a good person. You know, whatever I want to add to it, but you must say, I love you, and add your name. I say it inside my head. I don't say it out loud. And I learned that from Ruiz, who wrote a book in the 80s called You Can Heal Your Life. I started doing that in 2014. I did not tell anyone I was doing it, just to see if it, as an experiment, to see if it would work. And the very first thought was, oh my God, this feels so uncomfortable and cheesy. Can't believe I'm doing this. And the thought that popped into my head was, isn't that interesting that you can tell your partner you love her, you can tell your dog, your family, your friends, oh, I love this food, I love these shoes, I love my job, but I can't say that to myself. That's interesting. Why can I not say to myself that I love myself? That was the first thought. I kept doing it every morning. It got easier and easier. By day 10, when I did it, my eyes welled up with tears and I felt like crying. And I thought, wow, why do I feel so emotional right now? And the first thought that came was, because the first time in a long time, you were connecting with the essence of who you are, which is love. And so I kept doing it, and about 4 weeks, 2 weeks in, people started saying, did you lose weight? Did you cut your hair? You look different. You're different. You seem so great. You seem so vibrant. And I knew it was because of this, because so many people were saying that. I've done it every single morning and night before I go to bed since 2014. And it is one of the top 3 things that has changed my life. The most powerful thing, in addition to meditation and prayer and journaling, that's changed my life for the better. That is bonus, the bonus one. It's number 6. So those are the 6 exercises and practices that if you do them every day for 30 days, I promise you, your life is going to change for the better. And at that point, I am ready to take questions.
Awesome,
Yeah,
Libby.
I agree.
Thank
Wow.
you, thank you, thank you. I'm writing notes. Oh my gosh. I love how nature is the new corner office.
Yes, nature's the new corner office.
That's so true.
It's not,
Yay.
like, then you get the promotion, you get the job, you've got the glass corner office overlooking Madison Avenue or whatever. And then it's like, oh, where's Libby? It's 7:30. She's not, 7:30 a.m. She's not in her office. Where's Libby? It's 7:30 p.m. She's not in her office. You know what I mean? But now you have this. You can be anywhere in the world. As you both know, my wife is from Cape Town, South Africa. Hello, South Africa. Anybody on the line?
We have lots of friends in South Africa.
Right. And so I think, wow, that even set me up for living a global life, Okay.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, now people are dropping off. Great. No, I'm kidding. All right. So let me get the answer ones. And Colleen has been tagging these perfectly, and then I've been prioritizing. So let me grab the red flags. High priority.
Thank you, Colleen.
Okay. So Anne asked, what would you recommend to a person in their 50s who can no longer grow in their position and is fearful of not getting another opportunity?
Mm-hmm.
What they're in right now is not working, and so they need to make a change, but what's out there.
Okay. So one, it's back to the catch and release of the thoughts. That is essential, meaning every time that thought pops up, oh my God, I'm not going to be growing, you have to catch yourself in it, do the deep breath, slow exhales, and you can use words. You can start saying this. I am so excited about the new opportunities here at this company. Or you can make it more general. I'm so excited about the opportunities coming to me. And then your job is to open up and think, what can I do to expand this role? Or where would I like to take my talent and resources within this company? Or what would I love to do out in the world? So it's like current number 1, 2, or 3. You're going to expand in the role you're in. You're going to expand within the company, or you're going to open yourself up to go out into the world. So this whole thought of like, oh, after 50, 60, 70, I don't have anything to offer, that needs to be rebranded. That is old paradigm. New paradigm is, oh my God, I would love to have someone with 50, 60, 70 years of experience and wisdom, to bring into my company. I mean, really, so that if you start believing that in the way that I believed I could get an apartment in the West Village in New York City for $1,500, I just believed it. Faith is believing with no proof. So you just start telling yourself that. Someone would love to bring my experience and expertise and wisdom into this role, this company, and you start telling yourself that. Tell yourself that in the mirror every morning after the I love you. I am so excited for my new job, my new opportunity. 50 is fantastic.
Can I add to that too? Because, you're one of my mentors, and you even told me about the situation with your house. Like, you actually visualize it. So would you recommend that she actually visualize, like, what is the perfect job? Like, what would make her happy, where she's leveraging her skills, her interests, her passion? Would you have them just like see it in their head, like you saw your house in Vancouver in your head, like you wrote it out exactly what you wanted?
That's a great technique as well. So deep breath, slow exhale first. I'm a big believer in journals. So you could write out, just like you said, Vickie, what would my ideal job be? These are my hours. These are the type of people I'm working at. These are my top 3 contributions to that job. This is why they hired me. This is what I add to the job that they're not even aware of. This is what I make. That's a big one. This is my salary for that job. This is my bonus. This is my health plan. This is my wardrobe. I mean, like, you can add whatever you want. The only limit is our mind. So I'm just telling everybody everything you already know. Also visualizing yourself walking through the doors, or maybe it's a virtual job. Maybe you work from home. You get to do whatever you want. Maybe you're flying on a private plane with your new principal that you're working with. There's so many options. So your thoughts, so it's thinking it, it's writing it, and it's also opening up to the universe to say, I'm open. Wherever I can best be used, thank you for showing me where that is. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I love that.
And let me just add, like, people might be able to see the writing on my wall, which says believe.
Yes.
What in our work around the world, at this point, I've been in 14 countries and 38 states because I've counted. And what I've observed is like that mindset of, we tell ourselves a story, and oftentimes the story about, well, I'm 50 and I'm past it and I can't get anything new. That's a story we tell ourselves. And what's so wonderful about your message, Libby, is that you are giving people freedom, the permission to open our minds to what we want. Like, I've been talking to a lot of assistants, a lot of people around the world who are asking some really tough questions right now because of the uncertainty, because of the volatility in the world. And honestly, the old rules don't apply anymore. The old stories need to be old and put away, and to open for the new story. And so there was one of our participants was asking, how does she possibly ask her executive to work at home all the time now? It could be you're imagining it, and it really is about thinking through what's in it for you, but also what's in it for them. What's in it for them if they permit this? Like, there's all this opportunity available now because of how much in flux this all is. Don't you think?
100%. And I want to share something that speaks to that point on opportunity. The 3 of us talked about this the other day, where after meditation, I was journaling and something in me said, write down COVID. So I wrote out COVID. And then the thought came and said, now, if that's an acronym for something positive, the flip side of this, what would that be? And it came immediately. Creating opportunities via, VIA, inspirational divinity. COVID is also an acronym for creating opportunities via inspirational divinity. So have people died? Yes. Are people diagnosed with it and sick? Yes. Is it sad and scary? Yes. And what's also true, it's an opportunity for creativity, for expansion, to go, it's an opportunity to bring love into the workplace, into your partnerships, into yourself. It's an inspirational opportunity as well.
Agreed.
Speaking of which, tell us what you're doing now with an organization. Speaking of love, tell us a little bit about bringing love in the workplace.
Okay, so LoveX Global, again, came to me in meditation. I'm a big believer, even if you don't meditate and it sounds woo-woo to you, just do the 3 deep breath, slow exhales. It's no different. It's just about quieting your mind. There's a great quote, I don't know who said it, which is, prayer is you speaking to God and meditation is God speaking to you. So again, if you don't believe in God, there's no right or wrong answer. It's about your higher consciousness, your higher self speaking to you. And what came, I started asking the question, how do you coach a company as if it's an individual? And the answer that came was, you teach people how to love themselves, which is really, you remind people how to love themselves. Because we come into this world through the birth canal, love, we're perfect. There's nothing, no one's made us anything yet. We haven't been conditioned or programmed to be a certain way. We're just pure love. And then through society and blah, blah, cultures and blah, 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 we get programmed a certain way. So this work is about bringing us back to our essence, our essential self, the most powerful thing within us, which is love. So it's LoveX popped into my mind in that meditation. So you teach people how to love themselves. LoveX means if you're working with a team, and let's say you teach 3 people, remind them through these 6 practices that we just talked about, how to love themselves, which means respect yourself, treat yourself well, eat well, move your body, take care of this vessel, take care of your mind, your thoughts, be the master of your thoughts. So when you teach people how to do that, if you have 3 people doing it in a company, that's powerful. So it's love to the X power, and X is exponential. There's no limit. So for example, right now, I don't know how many people are on this call, but if all of us, every single one of us, let's say 1,500 people, if all of us right now imagine the white light of love coming through our body into our hearts and rippling out from our heart out to the universe, to our partner, kids, families, friends, community, coworkers, our company, our countries, the world, the galaxy, the universe. That's powerful. This group right here can start to turn around the energy of this fear and what's going to happen. Like, let's do it right now on this call. That's how powerful the energy of love is. That's what LoveX is. So LoveX is bringing the energy of love back into business in all the forms that takes: kindness, appreciation, respect.
And that's what you're doing now within companies. People can hire you to bring them into the companies, or virtually, work virtually.
Correct. So I do traditional executive coaching with my own unique spin. I do life coaching, and I do LoveX coaching for those bold companies that are ready for something different. We're not pretending like it's something else, bringing the energy of love back into business. It's getting people in alignment with their higher self.
Love it.
I think you're going to be really busy. Busier.
I want to say, because of this webinar, you guys know Becky, like Fisher Price Textiles. So Alex Carvalho, again, who I met through your EQA, reached out and was like, Libby, there are going to be a lot of people on that webinar. I think you need to update your website. Like, I didn't touch it in a year. I was like, oh yeah. So just a couple of days ago, he updated and he set me up for you can sign up for my email list so that I can let people know what's happening. So For everyone here, Alex is the first person that signed up. So anybody else, I welcome you to go to libbymoore.com and join me and sign up.
We'll put that in the chat window. If Colleen, if you don't mind doing that would be awesome. While we do the final, is there any other final thoughts you want to share with the group that folks that people need to leave? And then we'll obviously bring you back on, stay on.
Okay.
But anything else?
I would just like to quickly recap these, which is 1, the 3x3 breathing, deep breath, slow exhales. 2, your thoughts create your life, the catch and release. 3, move your body, get outside, walk. 4, the attitude of gratitude. 5, be of service. 6, look in the mirror every morning, say, I love you. If you do that for 30 days, your life is going to change for the better. I promise you. And I love you. Take all the love that you felt in this call and take that out and spread it in your world. That's what I want y'all to do. And thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. And so it's libbymoore.com, right?
Oh, yes, libbymoore.com. And my Instagram is Libby Moore Gypsy Tour. And I just launched LoveX Global on Instagram, which has 6 posts, but this is motivating me to just do it now.
We'll make sure everyone has those links to all your social networks.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so hang tight. Stay with us.
The final is I'm starting as this has motivated me to do some online opportunities as well. So I'll update everyone through my email list. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. Okay, Bon, we are
Liv.
going to make the announcement. So do you want to take it from here?
Yes. Well, we have heard from so many of you about these speed mentoring sessions that Vickie and I have been doing. We will be doing one on Thursday, May 21st. I'm not ready to announce our guest yet for that. But then we thought, we put our heads together and said, you know what, we're going to continue these because the need, my gosh, there's no lack of content and no lack of need. So we're launching a 4-part speed mentoring webinar series starting Thursday, June 4th. The dates are on the slide. And we would love to have you with us. We're pricing it at $99 USD. We welcome people from all over the world. We're doing it at the same time as you see, noon to 1 p.m. Eastern time. It is on sale right now on my website, betheultimateassistant.com, on the homepage, and on the chat window, we're going to put the link. Right, Vic?
Yes, is that right? It'll be, yes.
Okay.
I would highly recommend that everyone do that. I just want to jump in and say that. It's a bargain. I've been to their workshops. You need to do this. It's fantastic. Okay, go ahead.
Well, we are working really hard to provide value and great resources for the community because, boy, do we need it. And Vickie and I really want you to know that if you do register today, if you're listening to this, you're on the call, we will give you our ebooks. We will give you a copy of Be the Ultimate Assistant, and you will receive a copy of Vickie's amazing book, the 100 Tips book. Yeah, there it is. Show us, Vic. Show us it.
Yes, you'll get the digital version of this heavy book. Yeah.
Yes, and it is the book that our students say, I can do anything on a computer as long as it's in Vickie's book. So I mean, it's an added bonus. We want you with us. We want your voice. We want your questions. We want you to stay in contact with Libby and with Ann Hyatt from 2 weeks ago. This is about providing a place for us to gather and for us to support each other at a time that is trying and challenging and difficult for many. So we are going to take the lessons we learned from each other. Go ahead, Liz.
Perfect. Cool. And maybe we can get Libby back as a guest during that time. Oh, we'll see.
Love that.
Okay, a couple of announcements. I have, if you're interested in pursuing certification in Microsoft Office, which now's a good time to do that since there are a lot of people vying for the same job. So I have a free webinar. Here's the link. Just go to our website, redcapeco.com/calendar. If you're watching the live replay, we've already had it on the 12th, then go to our Moss page on that. I have a 3-part Microsoft productivity series. I saw a couple people ask questions. How do I get the skills? So in Microsoft Office and digital skills working for virtual teams. So that's coming this summer. And that's going to be $199 for the 3-part series. So we'll work together. So that's coming soon.
All right.
So this
moving
is the
right
perfect
along.
time. Yeah, that's perfect time to say thank you to our team, as always. Colleen Dunn, I'm in Austin, Texas. My amazing assistant is in Columbus, Ohio. Jen, Bonnie, do you want to talk about Jen and Robert?
Yeah, Jen Wilner is my assistant. We work virtually. She's in Jersey, where I am from. Now I'm in Florida. So, thank you, Jen. I know you're on the call. And thank you, Robert. Robert is my life partner, my high school boyfriend, and fantastic partner. I could not do it without these people, with all of these people. Like, it takes a village. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right. So next steps, and then we will close it out with a quote. And okay, definitely connect with us on LinkedIn. Libby, you have a LinkedIn account, yes?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
We'll get you connected. We'll make sure everyone has all of your social media links. If you have any job postings, actually, we'll repost the link to Bonnie's Facebook page. So let's put the job postings in your Facebook page, Bon. We're going to send the replay out to you within the next 2 hours. Feel free to share that. We'll also post it on YouTube. Next session is Thursday, May 21st. And then, of course, just let us know what you think of the session. Email us and let us know how we can best support you. And we hope to see you on our $99 series. So Bonnie, over to you, and then I will close the last slide, and then we'll stay on for Q&A.
Right. Well, everybody, we're so happy you've been here with us. We've been on quite a ride for the last couple of months, and we are going to continue on this roller coaster of a life we've got going. So I believe that we can no longer wait for the storm to pass. We're going to learn how to work in the rain. You've got this. You know how to do this. It's about your thoughts or your actions, and it's about how we approach what we're being confronted with every day, and to be open. The lessons from Libby are so profound. It's not enough that the opportunities come to us. We need to be open to them and to be able to receive them. So I know I've learned a whole lot today, and I just want to we all want to support you in such a big way to move forward with calm and reduction of stress, and in such a positive way. So I'm so grateful to have been here myself, and grateful for you, Vickie, and Libby. Thank you so much for being on the call with us today.
Thank you. Thank you both. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone out there.
Yeah, everyone, thanks so much for joining us, especially, I know some of my personal friends are here, so typically they don't send any of my stuff. So thank you guys for supporting us. And I know a lot of our speaker friends that know Libby are out there tweeting, so thank you guys for joining us today. So for those of you that have to leave, go ahead and close out your window. We are going to continue with Libby and our Q&A.
Minutes?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, Libby. So I saw a question here about if you made any mistakes when working with Oprah and how you dealt with that.
Yeah. So I made a lot of mistakes over 11 years, as you can. And 2 stories I want to tell. One, in the very beginning, I remember the first 6 months in particular, I said, I'm sorry, that won't happen again. So many times I got sick of hearing it. So it must have driven her crazy, because I'm sorry, that won't happen again. I'm sorry, that won't happen again. And I remember once I just was so stressed out, and she called me to talk about something that went wrong. And I was just so short and unprofessional. And I go, well, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect on the call. It makes me cringe to even think that I said that now. And she said, Libby, I don't expect you to be perfect. I expect you to do your best. That's it. Just do your best. And as a recovering perfectionist in some ways. Not everything am I a perfectionist, but in other areas I try to be. It's a waste of energy. You just try to be your best. So that lesson for me, it happened in a nanosecond. I was like, oh yeah, I am supposed to do my best. She's not looking for perfection. And this is a new job and there's a lot to learn. So that was one. And then the second thing was, from my perspective, the biggest mistake was when we were flying from Chicago, Illinois to South Africa. And we were there to launch the opening of her school, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, just south of Johannesburg. And we were also celebrating New Year's Eve. So she had invited about 150 VIP friends over from the US, family, friends, and then all these people in South Africa, and it was a big deal. And we were going to be there for about, I think, 3 weeks. And we flew from Chicago and long story short, halfway, we stopped in New York to pick up Gail, her best friend. We're continuing across the Atlantic Ocean, and about halfway between New York City and Spain, over the Atlantic Ocean, I realized, oh my God, I forgot my passport and I forgot her passport. And I just freaked out. Told the pilots, they go, oh my God, we forgot to ask for your passports because we're on her private plane. There's no security. And usually there were all these lines of defense that we would have to, my assistant would say, do you have the passports? I say, yes. Then we get in the car, the bodyguard would turn around and say, let me see your passports. And then we get to the plane and the pilots would say, okay, give us your passport. So there are all these things prior to taking off, but none of them happened that day. And then during flight, I went back and I woke her and said, God, I'm so sorry to wake you. Did you pack your passport? And she said, oh my God, I forgot my passport. So I said, I know, I did too. I'm so sorry. So when we landed in Spain, I worked out with I called the director of security. He worked it out with the airport that we would be able to go to the airport, and then the chief of communications who was flying over would bring our passports to us. Well, when we landed, this whole trip was about 18 hours. When we landed in South Africa, the director of security got on the plane and said, sorry, the person that gave approval to do that is at a funeral. It lasts 6 hours and you do not have permission to get off the plane. So we sat on the plane for another 6 hours on the tarmac after an 18-hour travel, waiting for something. And eventually we got temporary passports from the US Embassy flown up to us in a helicopter so that we could step off the plane to go to the hotel. It was not good. And I went into this mode of like constant, I'm so sorry, oh my God, that's what, and like really got small and meek, I did, and like constant. Then I made another bad decision after that, but the bottom line is I called my partner at the time and I was crying saying, oh my God, this is so bad. She's like, you need to go back in there tomorrow morning. You stop apologizing. You've done it enough. Put your shoulders back, be confident and move forward. Stop apologizing. And so that's what I did. And because my energy shifted, her energy shifted. And we went down to breakfast and I said, I'm not going to say it again. You've heard me apologize enough. I just want you to understand the mistake that I made, and it will not happen again. She goes, great, let's move forward. And we moved forward. And that's really the grace of Oprah. I mean, she could have fired me right there. A lot of people would have, but she didn't. And I moved on from it. But the biggest lesson was, one, we set up a foolproof system that we would always remember the passports, lots of checks before we, would leave the building. And then the other thing was that once you make a mistake, you apologize, you take ownership of it, put your shoulders back, get back into your higher self and move forward. Don't stay stuck in that small little, because your energy ripples out and they feel it. You need to come back up. So that's my biggest mistake.
Right.
I made lots of other ones, but that's the biggie.
No, I mean, I love that story. Everyone can cringe. Yeah, it's so relatable. Yeah. Do you have a comment, Bonnie, before I ask another question?
Well, you see that on my face, don't you? That we know each other so well. You got that, didn't you? I was remembering that Olympia, like Oprah, are creative people. They're super sensitive. One of the ways they're so successful is how in tune they are with other people. So that's important for assistants to know that these very creative types pick up on energy. all the time, right? She could read my face faster than anybody. They're just on a higher plane. Their level of sensitivity and heightened awareness is pretty crazy. So not unlike what you just did, Vickie. But wasn't that true? Like she often had like it almost like it's like an intuitive or a superhuman kind of sense of what somebody was feeling or thinking.
Are you saying
What do you think,
Oprah?
Liv?
Or
Both
Olympia?
Olympia and Oprah.
Both. Yes. Yeah, for sure. There are certain people that are like off the charts in that. And what I want to add to that is that we all have that. We all have it. Some people have it much more intense than others. Yet as the assistant or whoever is on this call, there are a lot of people that are not assistants on this call. As a human being, as a, I love that line, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. You're not a human being having a spiritual experience. You're a spiritual being having a human experience, whatever you believe around that. Just know that your thoughts create a feeling. That feeling is an energy. We're all atom cells and molecules that are moving. That's energy. So what you're feeling creates, what you're thinking creates a feeling that goes into your energy that ripples out to the world and those around you. And what you send out, you get back. It's looking for a matching and equal signal to bring back to you. So if you're feeling worthless and meek and small, you're going to get people reacting to you in that way and opportunities that are meek and small and prove to you that you're worthless.
Yeah.
If you shift your energy, you're going to draw something different to you. So Jill Bolte Taylor, an author, she wrote My Stroke of Insight. Her thing is be responsible for the energy that you bring into the room. That couldn't be more true. Be responsible for the energy that you bring into the room. And let's be light energy. Let's be love energy when we bring it.
We've actually had requests for some of the books you recommend for your thoughts. And so maybe if you could, not now, but later, kind of compile a list of your favorite books and we can email them to everybody.
We love that.
What was the author's name just now that you mentioned?
Dr. Jill Bolte, B-O-L-T-E, Taylor, T-A-Y-L-O-R. Oprah had her on the show and she was phenomenal. And then this one, I just grabbed off my nightstand this morning.
Oh, I love that one.
The Mastery of Love by Miguel Ruiz. And so good. And then when I first started working with Oprah, she gave me his first book, which was called The Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz.
I have that behind me.
So good. And so I read that, and then this is his follow-up. And if you just read those two books, it's going to set you on a whole different course for your life. So important.
And Liv, I just want you to know we still have more than 800 people on the call, and my email is blowing up and LinkedIn blowing up, saying that you are blowing people's minds with the material that you're sharing today. So I just need you to know.
I have chills. This is why, because I'm reminding people what they already know. As we all said, this is like Fisher Price. This is back to the basics.
You know what?
Back to love.
We need to be reminded of it. And this is easier said than done for many assistants, actually. This couple of months has beaten people up pretty well, actually. And so I think you're really bringing in some new ideas that can re-energize people's lives. I know you're doing that for me.
Great.
Well, and so we're so lucky because we have you on the bat phone. We can call you anytime and say, oh my gosh, this is happening, and you can center us. But I really have a vision for you that you have a monthly call that that we all pay for, that we could just get a dose of Libby once a month in a group call. So I'm going to help you do that someday. And if anyone's
putting that out there,
or let us know. I'm putting it out there. Like I literally think it should be like the third Thursday of every month.
These flowers are for you. Because Vickie said that to me. I'm just gonna. This one's a little. Vickie. Yes, right. There you go. Virtual flowers for you.
Yeah.
Vickie had mentioned that to me when I was living in Toronto like a year ago, and I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And honestly, I'm going to do it. Everyone on this call, you're holding me accountable because we're going to do this.
Okay.
We're going to do it because of this call, and everyone on right now, we're doing it. I want to do it.
Okay.
and I just want to remind people who they are, the power that they have within them, and how to access that. It's the practices are simple. They're the 6 things. It's the discipline of doing it every day and throughout the day. That's the hard part. It's easy though.
And you'll come back. You'll come back with webinars, maybe, right? Well,
what?
And you know what? We'll practice the whole video thing and audio thing, like that. The technology. You're going to be a pro. You're going to just be a pro.
So here,
what
I
else
want to ask
Vic?
one more question. I want to ask one more question, but and we have many more. So I feel like what we could do is we can compile the questions that are left over, and then connect with you to figure out how we can get them answered and share with everybody. Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we can have a call offline and we'll record it, the answers. Barbara asked, I have been given some great opportunities, but still have my days where I don't feel good enough. Oh, it hurts me to say that. How do you quiet the voice that says you aren't good enough?
Oh, Barbara, I love you. Barbara, I love you for having the courage to ask that question, especially in front of all these people. It's one thing to say it on the phone when it's one-on-one with someone, but to say it in front, because you were speaking about me. You were speaking about, I'm sure, Vickie and Bonnie, all of us have that. CEOs, big successful people, everybody has that at times. And that was my number one thing that I had to overcome in order to get in alignment with my true self, my higher self, because of these seeds of I'm not worthy, which for me started when I was a kid and I knew I was gay my whole life and I thought I'll never be able to come out, and I didn't come out until 27. But so like in college, I, food and alcohol. So I blew up 205 pounds, size 20, and just ate and drank alcohol to numb my feelings.
I'm so sorry. What was your weight?
205 pounds. So I don't know what that is in kilos for all the other countries. But
you thought she said 520 pounds, right, Vic?
Yeah, I did.
What was 520?
520. That's weird. It was 205. Anyway, 205 pounds to clarify. Probably 6 sizes bigger than I am now, I'm thinking. But food and alcohol numbed the feelings, because the truth of who I was, now I am gay. I thought no one would accept me as a gay person. So I had to push that truth down until 21 years old, when you can't push it down anymore. And I tried to end my life in a drunk driving accident. I survived, thank God. And that is why I believe I do the work that I do now, that I love so much, because I know what it's like to feel like I'm not worthy. I know what it's like to feel like, what's the point in living? And to actually try to do something about that. Thank God I survived. And that at 54 years old, I can say, I love my life. It feels like it keeps getting better. So the 50-year-old that asks the question, honey, I am 54. And I feel like the past 4 years of my life have been amazing. And it keeps getting better and better the more I unfold and open up. So the point is, how do you do it? When those thoughts, which sometimes I still get those thoughts of feeling insecure or I'm not worthy. When those thoughts come up, what I do is I catch myself in it. I don't let myself go down the rabbit hole of it. And I do the 3 deep breaths, slow exhales. And if my mind really wants to hang on to those thoughts of insecurity or I'm not worthy, which we could spend hours on, right? When I'm breathing in, I'll say, I am breathing in love into my body. I'm releasing negativity. I'm breathing in light into my body, mind, soul, and spirit. I am releasing insecurity. I'm breathing in light. I'm releasing insecurity. I'm breathing in love. I'm releasing love. I'm breathing in love. I'm releasing love. That in itself helps me to feel better. And then I plant a new seed of thought in there. Well, I love my wife. She loves me. We got married in December. I have family and friends who love me. I worked with Oprah for 11 years. I love her. She loves me. We had a great experience. I have 3 dogs and 2 cats who love me. It's like you start telling yourself what you know to be true, factual, and positive about the present moment or where you want to see yourself in the future. So that's how you do it. And you on repeat, you do that all day long and every day. And then eventually you start living that way because you believe it and you see the truth of your life as opposed to these old illusions that we're thinking about from childhood, you know, our trauma from birth to 13. That's not real. That's an old memory. This is real. Right now, this call right here, all of us together, this is real life. And we get to create what our future is going to be. I hope that's helpful because that changed my life for me.
Amazing, Libby.
Thank you
I just
so
want to
much for being so honest.
I need to remind people that we've seen Libby on stage. She's a friend of ours. We've all seen her on stage. I see what happens to the audience when Libby is speaking and sharing this, and our phones are blowing up right now. So consider this: if you want Libby to do the exact same thing for your company, reach out to her and bring her in and have a virtual session like this with your company. With any speaker, any trainer that you admire out in the world, it's like that's what we need right now is this inspiration. Or, you know, book some time with her or join the monthly sessions we're gonna build for her. And hopefully we can bring her on as one of our guest speakers at our 4-part series. So I'm putting her on the spot right now and Bonnie on the spot. So I just wanted to remind you guys about
Answer
that.
is yes.
And I'm gonna
Get your calendar ready, Lib.
Yeah. So Bonnie, I'm gonna back over to you to close us out. And then
all right. Well, everybody, my goodness, it was the fastest 2 hours, right? And we still have over 700 people on the call.
Wow.
We are so grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for the technology that enables us to do this, to get together. We didn't have a chance to count up how many countries, but I'll bet we're at 50, you know, who have signed on to the call. This means a lot to all of us. Like, we're at a moment in time right now. I'm grateful to you, Vickie, for, you know, saying yes. You said yes, still once again to me when I call you and say, I have a crazy idea. Are you sitting down? Do you have 5 minutes for me? And, you know, we've been working together for over 10 years and we get to be with each other and we get to pull in some fantastic people who we respect and admire and who are our friends. And so thank you, Libby, so much for
Thank you both.
saying yes.
Thank you too for inviting me. I mean, my God, 4 slots. Thank you. And thank you to everybody that tuned in. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Yeah. So it doesn't end here. We hope you'll connect with Libby. You know, you have an easy way of doing that. And we certainly hope you'll stay with us for the 4-part series and the technology classes that Vickie is just the best in the business. So the learning continues. We will come through this together. We will come through this. Our community is going to have some challenges, but we need to do this. Okay? Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks again. Well, this concludes today's session. You may now disconnect from the call. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
You'll get the replay. Bye. Stay safe and healthy.